Hello everyone and welcome back to Car Venus 14. Now today I am going to be talking about, well, Genshin Impact again. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I mean, I've always been on and off with videos, you should know that by now. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about what kind of weapons would fit perfectly in with Genshin Impact. Now, more specifically, I highly doubt we're going to be able to go through the entire game of Genshin Impact, which means, well, Genshin Impact's roadmap says that this game still has another 5 years of game time left. So I highly doubt that within those 5 years we're going to stick with the 5 weapon types that we have right now, being Catalyst, Bow, Polearm, Sword, and Claymore. I think we'd all get tired of using the same weapons over and over again, right? Well, I decided to come up with some weapons that may well definitely fit in with the aesthetic and the entire kind of vibe Genshin Impact has going. So I decided to make a PowerPoint on that and show you guys why I think these weapons would work. Now, in these weapon videos, I spelt classes wrong, I think. Yeah, I did. We'll forget about my pathetic spelling skills, but the weapon classes that I am going to be talking about these weapons in are heavy, medium, and light. So heavy weapons are going to require 2 hands, like the Claymore. Medium weapons, like the polearm and the sword, are going to obviously require 1 hand, but you know, they'll still carry a little bit of oomph behind every attack that they do. And then the light weapons are going to be like the bow and the catalyst, that don't really have a lot of oomph, but you know, you got like all sorts of acrobatics going on with them. So yeah, now that that's out of the way, we'll go through the different weapons that I have thought about. So the first one are axes. Now axes, obviously they kind of have to be, you know, in Genshin Impact because of the way that because of the way that, you know, claymores are in the game, and we've got, you know, axes, just axes, you know what I mean? I think axes would just suit Genshin Impact perfectly because, well, axes kind of suit that whole, you know, fancy kind of vibe. I mean, imagine an anime character just holding in his hands an axe and just decimating enemies with them. Like, imagine D-Luke with an axe, or Noelle with an axe. How cool would that be? Even Arataki Ito with an axe. I mean, why not? Axes, I think, would just suit Genshin Impact really well. Obviously, I would reserve axes for, like, the burliest of burliest dudes, so guys that are, like, even more hench than the tall adult men that we have in Genshin Impact. So, like, the guys that are like buff, guys that, you know, like spend their entire life in the gym. That's what I'm talking about. So I think, yeah, obviously this could definitely introduce a new body type into Genshin Impact as well. Like, I don't know, well, you got adult men, and then from that point you probably have buff adult men. I don't know, something like that basically. But yeah, that's axes for you. The second one are crossbows. Now, crossbows are basically like bows, except they're in a horizontal motion, so hence why they're called crossbows. Now, crossbows work a bit like a gun and a bow put together. So you pull a trigger, as you could probably tell. You pull a trigger and it shoots a bow. Now, these could be really good because obviously we already have a similar weapon, the bow, in the game. So why not add a gun to the game and mix it in with a bow, because that's a pretty good idea, is it not? I mean, imagine an anime character just shooting things with a crossbow. Like, imagine them, you know, the charge attack could be them looking down through the scope and stuff like that. How cool would that be? Yeah, so these weapons would definitely be light weapons, because I would think that, you know, crossbows aren't really that heavy, so I would think that you'd be able to, you know, roll around, do some like acrobatics kind of stuff with the weapon, do like backflips and stuff, and then do some cool shooting moves. So that's why I think the crossbow would really work with Genshin Impact. Moving on to probably the edgiest weapon out of all of the weapons in the game, that will be in the game, hopefully. Yeah, scythes. I mean, I know I'm definitely going to want this one in the game because scythes. So, yeah, scythes, as you all know, were originally used for farming, but then well, I guess people found out that they could be used to pulverize people, so I guess they started using it for that as well. But yeah, Scythes would be definitely a medium class weapon, because I would think that scythes would definitely have like the same length as polearms, but you don't really need two hands to wield a polearm. So medium weapons kind of seem the best area for it. So yeah, you know, I mean, think about it, right? Think of a character like who would wield a scythe really well? Zhao. I would think Zhao with a scythe. How cool would that be? Like, imagine Zhao, but instead of using a polearm, he had a scythe. I think, honestly, if polearms were replaced with scythes, I think Zhao would definitely be one of the wielders of a scythe. So, yeah, if Mihoyo had a scythe option in the game, they would definitely give Zhao a scythe, because he would just suit it so much. So, yeah, I would think scythes would really, really suit the game well, because, I mean, what anime game is out there that you don't have access to scythes? It's just a crime to not have one. Next up, we have dual blades. Now, this one out of all of the weapons is probably the most likely to come into the game, just because we already have one character that can use dual blades, that being Child. Although it is only for a maximum of 45 seconds, it's not permanent. It's still, you know, it's still there. Dual blades are still in the game, only in the form of one character. Now, dual blades, obviously, we've seen Child being able to use dual blades, so why not everyone else use dual blades? Like, why not some other some other people that use dual blades? So yeah, I think dual blades would be a very, very good addition to the game. Now, you could argue that dual blades could be light weapons as well, but then again, if you were to combine the dual blades like how Child does into like a full-on polearm / lance, then would it not class as a medium weapon, or would it still class as a light weapon? Because with dual blades, you'll probably be able to have a lot of maneuverability and like assassination skills. So I guess you could consider them light weapons as well, but I've considered them as medium weapons, so yeah. Next up, we have gauntlets. Now, gauntlets are the last weapons out of all of the weapons I have listed. I didn't list any more because I couldn't really think of any more, and we'll get onto why. Now, gauntlets I think would be really good. Also, if you don't know where these gauntlets are from, I don't understand, but if you really must know, find out yourself. Now, these gauntlets, for those of you who know, you are definitely very, very good human beings of the gaming world. Well done. I am proud of you all. But yeah, gauntlets would be a very, very good addition to the game. Now, because gauntlets, I mean, think about it. Martial artists in a game like Genshin Impact, does that not fit like a perfect marriage to you? Like, does that not seem to work? I think martial arts mixed with fantasy magic mixed with gauntlets, it just works, does it not? So that's why gauntlets would be really strong. Now, gauntlets could be light weapons. Some people could probably class them as like medium weapons, because some gauntlet attacks, obviously you got like harder hitting punches and kicks and stuff like that. But yeah, gauntlets in my mind would be light weapons, because you could then dish out loads of attacks within a certain amount of time. So gauntlets would just suit Genshin Impact really, really well. Now, that is the last of the weapons. Now, final notes, where are the guns? Well, guns are available in Genshin Impact. I mean, the only enemies that really use guns are the Fatui skirmishers. But the reason I don't want to say guns is that I feel as though if the game does move in towards the direction of guns, it will get a little bit too technological. Yeah, the Fatui skirmishers use guns, but Snezhnaya is a region more about, you know, magical technology. A bit like how Hextech is in League of Legends, or, you know, how I can't think of any other example, but you know what I mean, like how in, you know, no, I really can't think of any other examples, but you know how Hextech is in League of Legends, if you guys know what that is. Yeah, it'd be a bit like that, where there's still a little bit of fantasy elements in it, where you imbue the gun with magical, you know, properties, where maybe in like an element of the game could be you, as like a charge shot, you imbue the gun with like a certain character's element, and they do like a powerful shot. So I guess guns could work in that regard, but then again, there's loads of different gun types. There's shotguns, there's rifles, rifles, there's snipers, there's pistols, there's revolvers, there's loads of guns, there's SMGs, there's LMGs, you know, there's loads of different guns out there that you can literally use. So if we do have guns, I think we would literally just only have a few types of the guns, or maybe not any, because there's loads of guns that can be added into the game. At that point, the amount of weapons that you have and the weapons that you kind of want to roll for and need will just be so scarce that you may not even get the weapon that you desire. So I'm not really sure if guns will really make it into the game. If they do, it's definitely a welcome, but if they don't, it's not really unexpected either. But like I said, guns will just make the game feel a lot more technological than fantasy, and I think Genshin Impact is a game about fantasy. It's set in a fantasy world with fantasy elements, with fantasy powers. It's not set in a technological world where everyone is living in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. We all know how that ended, and yeah, it's not really, you know, what the game is. It's not really a game set in a technological science fiction world. It's a game set in a fantasy world in an alternate timeline. So yeah, those are the final notes, and those are all the weapons. So out of all of the weapons, which ones do you guys think are the ones that are going to, you know, most likely to make it into the game? And if you do have any other ideas about what kind of weapons could come into the game, then do leave it down in the comments below, and who knows, maybe I'll make an updated video of this video, like maybe call it some more weapons that could be added into the game. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I have been CarVenus14 and still am, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.